The basis of the Constantinian synthesis was a symbiotic relationship between the Church and the state. The form of this relationship might vary, with either partner dominant, or with a balance of power existing between them. There are examples from the 4th century onwards, both of emperors presiding over church councils and of emperors doing penance imposed by bishops. Throughout the medieval period, power struggles between popes and emperors resulted in one or other holding sway for a time. But the Christendom system assumed that the Church was associated with the Christian status quo and had vested interest in its maintenance. The Church provided religious legitimation for state activities, and the state provided secular force to back up ecclesiastical decisions. Supporters of Constantinianism argue that this system enables the lordship of Christ to be exercised over every aspect of society and demonstrates the triumph of the gospel. Opponents consider that this victory was achieved at the expense of compromising on important issues, and that in fact Christianity has been conquered and domesticated. Rather than society being sanctified, the Church has been secularized. Jürgen Moltmann wrote that for this victory the Church had to pay a high price. It had to take over the role of the political religion. Now the Church was there for everyone. Its mission reached everywhere. But as what? It reached everyone only as a component part of the political order, as the state religion of the political government. Others suggest that the Church had no option in the 4th century but to accept imperial endorsement, and that Constantinianism, despite its excesses, was a providential means of Christianizing culture and advancing God's kingdom. Leslie Newbigin concluded, "How else at that moment of history could the Church have expressed its faithfulness to the gospel, which is a message about the universal reign of God? It is hard to see what other possibility there was at that moment. The experiment of a Christian political order had to be made." However the period since Constantine is assessed, evidence is accumulating of a transition from a Constantinian to a post-Constantinian situation. The percentage of the population attending state churches is now very small in many European nations. Frequent calls are heard, even from within state churches, for disestablishment, for changes to the parish system, and to the practice of infant baptism. Few missiologists now divide the world into Christian and pagan nations, and the growth of non-Christian religions in Europe is forcing churches to explore the implications of witness in a pluralistic society. From within the established churches, many voices are recognizing and welcoming this transition. Given its long history in Europe and its all-pervasive nature, the demise of Constantinianism is unlikely to be sudden or total. Even when the official relationship between church and state is dissolved, the Constantinian mindset within the churches and within society will persist, and many will seek a return to a supposedly more Christian society. Franklin Littell has warned that the tendency to slip back into the assumptions of Christendom is ever present. And David Bosch has commented that there are, even to this day, regions and communities where for all practical purposes the population still thinks and acts in Constantinian categories. Nor will it be possible or necessarily desirable to eradicate from post-Constantinian society all the vestiges of its Constantinian past. What may need to be challenged, if not eradicated, is the distorting influence of the Constantinian mindset on various aspects of theology and practice. It is this mindset, rather than a political arrangement, that is the heart of Christendom. This was a situation that faced reformers and Anabaptists in the 16th century.